Hi, I'm Melissa Bell, and welcome to the Business Roundup, where we catch up with the movers and shakers in the business world. Today, joining me is the founder of MENT.ai, Dr. Masoud Nafey. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Melissa. It's an honor and privilege.
Well, AI is definitely like still big, big talk out there. And there's a lot of things, from the AI bubble to how it's shaping the world in many, many ways in business as well, and just our personal lives. Can you start off before we kind of dive into that, discussing a little bit about your background? Because I know you've headed up a couple innovative tech companies.
Yeah, sure. So, I'm an optometrist by trade. Decided I was going to care for people and that's how I was going to live my life and have multiple practices in the community where I grew up. And then as time went on, I realized there were bigger problems I wanted to solve. So I started in the healthcare sector and solving problems in tech, building EHR practice management solutions, building telemedicine solutions, building image management solutions to really bring people together and put this patient at the center of healthcare. And, that translates well as kind of time went on. I wanted to do some things beyond healthcare. And that's when the idea of MENT came about. And we said, okay, can we use technology to bring people together? And I joke about this all the time because I say we are meant to be together. So what can we do to do that? And, here we are, we're building technology that now is doing just that, using AI to help you build relationships.
And now, can you discuss a little bit about the vision behind Ment and how how the app is using AI to create an intentional and meaningful business relationship?
Yeah, we operate under the premise of people do business with people they like. So we created a relationship intelligence platform that is really built to provide insights on all of your relationships. So its goal is to empower you with up-to-date, relevant, accurate, contextual insights. So then when you meet somebody, you have what you need, and you have it in minutes. And also when you build that relationship over time, you can create a deeper bond because you can stay up to date. And, the problems we were solving for is that the busier you get and the bigger your and broader your network gets, you have a lot of relationships and you can't keep up. And then the other problem is you have all this data on people and you can't keep up with all the data. Not all of it's relevant to your relationship with that person. So, and then if you want to use technology for some of this information, it's not secure. It's not privacy by design. So then you have all these missed opportunities.
And that's pretty cool. So this is like, would this application be relevant in any type of business kind of situation, or like it's not limited to a particular industry?
It's industry agnostic for sure. Our target audience has always been working with, executive teams, principals of funds, folks where your business is really built on relationships. And that's where we provide the most amount of value to. So you could think about consulting firms, you could think of recruitment firms, you can think of HR organizations, and HR departments, people who really focus on relationships, and those relationships is what builds the business. I think that's where we fit most closely, but truly, people could use this for their own relationships in their personal life too.
That's true because you're always coming across people, you get the business cards, and then you, like, kinda come to that point where you're like, "I don't remember, like, why I met this person, what was the particular" so that might come in handy. You can have, like, a little Rolodex that's very, like, accessible to you, I guess, at any point in time.
That's right, and we believe that. We believe when we say people do business with people they like, it's because you have made a professional relationship personal, or you made a personal relationship professional because of the trust that's earned and built over time. So we are one of those companies that it's very unique to us. We get all that personal information and professional information, and we provide insights that marry the two. Because we really do believe it's intertwined. For the most successful businesses and the most successful relationships when it comes to business, it is intertwined.
That's true. And now can you briefly discuss, like, the next generation of, like, digital relationships? We kind of touched upon it a little bit, but how is this gonna help us form, like, closer human connections and relationships?
Yeah, I envision a future where, we don't just look at our contact book in our phone and just say, who do I want to keep in touch with now, or what's more relevant? AI is going to help us and create shortcuts for us, actionable insights and things that really are most relevant to us at that any given time, whatever that time period is. And Ment's going to do that too. It already does do this. What it does is it tells you, you're about to go to a conference, you're going to meet all these folks. Let me give you up to date, relevant, contextual insights on the people you're going to meet. Or some of these are new relationships. You've never met them before. And all we ask for is a first name and the last name. And we go and gather all that insight for you. Some of those people are relationships you've had in the past. So then you already have in your Ment app, and you could just get updates on them and say, hey, it's been a while since we've checked in. You had a new baby. Congratulations. And they're going to find that heartfelt. Wow, that was that important that you knew that about me. That's incredible. And that's how we want people to feel. I also believe there's going to be a time where our emails, when we write an email, the context around the relationship of who you're emailing is going to become relevant, and we can power a lot of that.
That's pretty cool. I was just thinking about in my own type of industry, whether you're media and you're going to interview somebody or you're a PR professional, that is really big as far as that connection and building that rapport with somebody. You need to know a little bit about them to be, effectively communicate with them.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Here you go, another industry that's really built on relationships. If you can build it, and some of this is actually even generational. If you look at the different generations that are, Gen Z and others, and they don't like picking up the phone as much as maybe my generation does and others. And so, in general, they don't interact the same way as we do. So, for those scenarios, you might miss out on a few things. The fact that you and I are not in person, you're missing out on a few body, let's just say, cues around kind of how my, I think language is beyond just what we say, right? Body language is what I was getting at. So in those scenarios, this can actually give you all that insight. Here are the things that Masoud likes talking about. Here are the dislikes. Here are sensitive topics. Nobody wants to bring up sensitive topics. They're usually landmines. And if we can empower you with that information, you could probably build a better relationship with me at, at our first touch point.
That's definitely true. And now I know you did something else too. You helped build the Stanford University Vision Performance Center, the Human-Centered AI Institute. Can you tell a little bit about that and that, situation and how that kind of came to be?
Yeah, that was and still is one of my passions is right, bringing vision and technology, marrying the two. And what we did there is we worked on creating an agnostic place where whether you're building a VR headset or you're dealing with human computer interfaces, whether it's a smartphone and you interacting with that smartphone, and doing research around how do humans perform when it comes to these digital devices. How long can someone be in a VR headset before they fatigue? What are the human performance metrics that we can do research on to see what are the implications to our health and what are the implications to our performance when it comes to these different wearables, human computer interface devices, digital devices, and so forth.
That's pretty cool. And I know you've also just had a track record for like innovation and scaling tech businesses. What are some other ventures that you've been kind of involved in?
Well, another really great company that's, I call it the sister company of Ment is Blink Tech. And Blink is an event tech company, and it's really amazing. It's something that started during the pandemic when people weren't having physical events, and this event tech started powering some of the biggest events. It currently powers South by Southwest London, and it powers some of the big events like Sportico, F1. So it's really neat to be a board member there and see the growth of that company since its inception, when it was just an idea, and to see that grow. So, and obviously starting in healthcare, building EHR practice management systems. I think all the platforms that I've built, in the US alone, 70% of optometrists use one of the 2 systems I've built to power their entire private practice.
That's amazing. And now I know we were talking a little bit before we started. Are there any kind of outlooks that you can give us for like AI and VR in general as we kind of move forward? Some things that you think are going to happen, things that you think are exciting?
Well, smart wearables are gonna get better and more accessible. I mean, you think about, glasses like the Ray-Ban Meta, and now they have cameras, they have AI built into it. Also, we're seeing in the future of even just artificial intelligence, we have a lot of, art AI models, whether they're large language models or otherwise, that are connected to the internet, and you can use them on your computer. Sooner or later, you'll be able to use them on your devices. There'll be, a local AI model in all of our devices. Our devices will be personalized to us. And the same goes with, the wearables. They're going to be personalized to you. And that will make you a superhuman, right? It'll make you more efficient in some of the things that you do. With that being said, there's always the ethics and responsibility of AI that needs to be in the conversation at every given point. Data, privacy, all of those things that we care a lot about here in the United States. I think that needs to always be relevant. That's why when we built Ment, we created with privacy by design. We said anyone who puts any data in here about their relationships, we treat that as sacred information. It's your data, it's only yours, you control it, you have peace of mind, you want to delete it, you delete it. That's super important as anything in AI progresses, those are important and relevant conversations.
Yes, definitely. And I know I forgot to kind of touch upon that. So, Mint, I mean, how will people be able to access it on your cell phone, on your computer? Like, what are some of the devices?
Yeah, so we operate B2B. We don't necessarily just go straight to consumer and say, download our app, pay a fee, and you can use it. We work with organizations. And we specifically target people who this can have the greatest impact to them. And these are executives, leaders, worldwide leaders, government leaders. We're talking about principals and funds and people who go, I have this network. Am I optimizing my network? What are my missed opportunities that are hidden opportunities that I'm not seeing that men can help provide those insights for me? So how it works is we partner with that organization and we stand up Ment for them, and then they have access to the app and then they can load their contacts in and see the magic and see it work.
And now, if people wanted more information on Mint, would they go to the website? What would be the best way to find it?
Yeah, getment.io is our website, and that's a great place to see what we do and how we do it. And of course, feel free to contact us directly, and we'll set up demos and have those fun conversations around discovery of how it can benefit your organization. This is the best part of it. I mean, at the end of the day, what drives me is impact. And, in a world that technology is actually separating us and creating a distance, a gap between human to human interaction, I'm trying to flip the equation upside down and say, how do we use technology to bring us closer together? That's one of those things that, I feel deeply passionate about. So I hope that we have more of those discussions so then the impact continues to happen.
That's a good point too, because I know I was talking to somebody who kind of was one of the early founders of social media, and he said we created it to bring people and families closer together, but it ended up doing the opposite. So he's like, we need to kind of get back towards what the goal is. And like you're saying, AI should just help us have more time to be able to, dedicate to that personal relationship.
Yeah, here's the thing. We can't control what technology is used for. I always say there's good and bad with technology. It's really about innovation can't necessarily make that decision. However, how we use the technology can be either good or bad. And I think what we're trying to do is just use it for good. And of course, social media is a great example of how people can use it as a weapon. And I hope that we take those conscious decisions and take it to heart. We obviously have a very clear mission, so we're going to do everything in our power to ensure our technology is used for good.
Right, exactly. Building those relationships. Well, I definitely really appreciate you joining us today and sharing, because I think that's a great idea too. Like I said, it could be used in so many different industries. So really appreciate you joining us. Thank you for joining the Business Roundup, where we always try to bring you interviews with some of the leading people in business, whether it be technology, finance, or energy. I hope you tune in. I hope you subscribe and listen, and we'll give you updates for new interviews that are coming up. Until next time, I'm Melissa Bill.